What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hold the Phone podcast. I'm your host, Alex, joined by my host, Ryan. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm good, and I'm ready to get into all the free agency moves we got for you guys. But first, before we dive into anything too deep, I'd like to thank our friends at Madden Football Radio. Right? Is that their name?
Yeah.
For all the love that they've given us. Definitely feeling the love this week, especially from all our people. If you're coming in for the first time this week because of the roster, welcome. Love to have you. Keep listening. So let's just break down these moves. Where do you want to start it? You want to do it by division? Then we can do it by team.
Yeah, that works.
All right, I'll let you pick the division. Where do you want
to go? AFC East.
I like that division. That's where my team is. Well, I mean, because it's my division, I'm gonna start with my team. I absolutely love what the Bills are doing. This week we brought in former Kansas City Chiefs center Mitch Morse, former Baltimore Ravens wide receiver John Brown, former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Cole Beasley. We brought in other offensive linemen like John Feliciano and Ty Nsekhe. We just signed Adrian Waddle from the Patriots, and we also signed former Cincinnati Bengals Tyler Kroft. I love what the Bills are doing. I think all but one of our free agent signings has been offense. Brandon Beane was not messing around when he said that this is going to be strictly about building around Josh Allen, and I think they've done a great job at that. They've utilized their money perfectly because they've filled a lot of holes. Unlike a lot of other teams that we're going to talk about, I feel like the Bills have really utilized their cap space to fill all their needs. I mean, that's not saying that their roster is complete right now, but I'm saying that they're doing a really good job filling a lot of their holes because they did have a lot of them. What do you see from an outside Bills Mafia perspective, Alex?
No, I agree with everything you said. Honestly, I think they've made giant strides in becoming a contender. Maybe not this year. I think they'll be way better than they were last year, but I can see them maybe sniffing the playoffs this year. But with the additions that they made and the draft and everything, I think they're doing the proper way to rebuild a team, and they're doing it very well, I think. So I would give it up to the GM and the coaching staff there.
Thank you. I really like it. I know it's only March, but I definitely would like to put the idea out there that we could contend for a wild card spot. Obviously, as long as Tom Brady's there, we're not doing anything besides the wild card spot. We're not winning the division with Brady there, but let's skip along to one of these other teams. How about we skip on to another AFC East team that's having a really exciting offseason with the New York Jets. Obviously, it's no secret that Le'Veon Bell left the Pittsburgh Steelers and signed with the New York Jets.
Our colleague here.
They also got former Baltimore Ravens linebacker C.J. Mosley, and they almost got Anthony Barr, but he kind of skipped town before he could even get to town, honestly. He said that the thought of leaving the Vikings physically made him sick. I had a lot of fun with that one.
That one makes no sense to me, yo. How are you going to say, yeah, I'll sign with you, but then the thought of leaving makes me sick? I think he just got scared and didn't want to leave.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely, especially after the Bills AB moment, it was definitely fun to have that happen to someone else.
Yeah.
But I really like what the Jets are doing here. I would say that although they signed Mosley and Bell, I would say that the Bills, unbiased here, of course, I would say that the Bills are having a better offseason than them so far, mainly because the thing that strikes out with me that the Jets did, they have more cap room than the Bills do. And they let two Pro Bowl players in kicker Jason Myers and wide receiver Andre Roberts. They let them walk for nothing, pretty much. They had the money to retain them, and they just let them walk. I think that was a really bad move by their front office. You don't let Pro Bowlers walk. That's just kind of a rule. And, well, honestly, the Ravens haven't followed that rule very well either, but we'll get into that later. But I like what they're doing. I just don't like all the moves.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was smart to get Le'Veon Bell back there to help Darnold out, but at the same, I mean, obviously, I think they did a great job this offseason building around such a young core because that's what you get when you have a young quarterback. You can spend that kind of money. But I kind of agree with you where there was a lot of questionable things along with the good things. Like, I don't think I would have let Jason Myers and that other Pro Bowler go. I would have probably kept both of them, especially because Jason Myers got a big contract from Seattle, but I would try and re-sign them for cheap on a hometown discount and just, I don't know. Jets seem to be trending in the right direction, just maybe a little bit slower than everybody else, but I think they're going in the right direction.
Well, in my opinion, it was even more dumb because we ended up signing Andre Roberts. So not only did you let him walk, you let him go to a division rival, which was just dumb. But anyways, let's move on to a team that's having a pretty terrible offseason, in my opinion, the Miami Dolphins. I don't know, I understand they're rebuilding, but I just not following and I also know that they don't have a lot of cap, but I mean, getting rid of Tannehill was a necessary first step. I do really like that move, but like just bringing in Dwayne Allen and Eric Rowe, and didn't they bring in Clive Walker? Is that who they signed? They signed him 2 days ago?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
Cutting Danny Amendola. There's a lot of things that I'm not really like. Letting Frank Gore go. I know he's not like super productive and he's kind of old, but I mean, that's a lot of veteran locker room presence that Brian Flores could have used. But what do you think?
Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't feel like they have any sort of direction on where they're going. I mean, currently I think their quarterback is Luke Falk or something like that. I have no idea who's even on the roster at this point. So we're going to look at them as a team that's going to trade up, I would assume, in the draft and try and get either Murray or Haskins or maybe go with somebody like Drew Lock. But as of right now, I don't really see them. I think they could potentially be probably the worst team in the NFL next year. They don't really seem to have any sort of direction or plan. And I feel bad for Miami Dolphins fans currently because it's not fun.
Coming from a guy that has to play them twice a year, I would very much appreciate it if they sucked. But anyways, let's move on to the reigning Super Bowl champions, the last team in the AFC East that we haven't talked about yet, the New England Patriots. We haven't gotten any news yet on whether Tom Brady, the McCourty brothers, or Rob Gronkowski are going to retire. But honestly, it's not that I don't like the moves the Patriots are making. I like, excuse me, I can't talk. I don't like the moves that they aren't making. Oh my gosh. Let me try. I got it right. I don't like the moves that they aren't making. Not re-signing Trey Flowers. Not re-signing Malcolm Brown. Who else am I missing? Trent Brown.
Yeah, Trent.
Like, they're being gutted from the inside, and we just signed their backup offensive lineman today. I mean, they look like a shell of what they have.
Yeah.
And they're definitely not going to be. I mean, hot take. I mean, I know it's still early. They have plenty of time to sign people and draft people, but I don't think they're going to be as good as they have been. I mean, they're definitely still playoff contenders because they're the Patriots, but I don't like the moves. Yeah,
they haven't really done anything. I mean, pitchers came out with Bill Belichick on vacation, so clearly he cares a lot. They've done nothing but really let people go, and I don't understand it. But I mean, at the same time, I feel like we say this every single offseason, and then every season they're in the AFC Championship on the way to the Super Bowl. So it's hard to doubt them when Tom Brady's still under center, which I believe he will be for next season. I think Gronk might come back, and I don't know. I think they might all return. Who knows? I think Gronk would have announced it by now, but maybe not. I don't know. You know, it's hard to write them off when I feel like they've been in the Super Bowl like every year of my life, basically. So.
Yeah, I agree. It is hard to write them off, but I mean, this is feeding into that Patriots downward spiral that like half the NFL is just waiting for. But let's move on to our friends in the AFC North. I can't hold my excitement anymore. I'm just going to jump for it. I love what the Cleveland Browns are doing. Trading for Odell Beckham Jr. for practically nothing, sending over a few draft picks. I think they sent their first round this year and a third round this year. and he just finished his second year, safety Jabril Peppers. The Giants said that they really liked Jabril Peppers coming out of college. They just never got the chance to draft him. They finally got their chance, and the Browns obviously got OBJ.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the trade?
I feel good about the trade. If I'm the Giants, I'm pissed off. I mean, Amari Cooper got a 1, and you get their first-round pick, which is the 17th overall, and then they have 2 third rounds, and they got the lower of the third round. So they got the worst third round. So I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. Giants are another team like the Dolphins where I don't see what path they're taking. I think it's a huge mistake to take a quarterback this year. No, honestly, I wouldn't take Murray or Haskins if I'm the Giants. Maybe draft somebody like Drew Lock or Daniel Jones, but I would try and hold out for Jake Fromm, Tua, or Herbert next season. I don't really get what they're doing. They let Odell go. They let Landon Collins walk, which I guess they didn't want to pay him that ridiculous contract Washington gave him, but they do replace him.
They just traded Olivier Vernon last week, too.
Yeah, it just seems like they're literally getting rid of the whole team and then maybe had the worst free agent signing of any team this offseason, which is Golden Tate. Makes no sense. Why are we paying a 31-year-old wide receiver who runs primarily out of the slot when you already have 2 good slot players in Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram? So, I don't know. They have no outside threat on that team. It just seems like they're going to be terrible again, and I feel bad for Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, they're wasting his prime. And might I add about the Golden Tate contract, that's for 4 years. Golden Tate's already 30 years old, so terrible contract.
31, man. He just turned 31.
Oh, gosh. That's even worse.
Yeah, he's going to be...
I was about to say, I knew he was in his 30s, but oh, gosh.
And
for 4 years, too.
There were rumors of Russell Wilson wanting to be traded to the Giants. Not anymore because Golden Tate slept with his ex-wife.
Yeah, they used to be teammates, too.
Yeah, that's why they had to trade him, because Russell asked for him to be traded out of Seattle.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't get what the Giants are doing.
Well, we'll go back to the dumpster fire that is New York in a second. Let's rein it back in on Cleveland. I really like what they're doing. They signed Sheldon Richardson. Obviously, we just said that they traded for Odell Beckham Jr. and Olivier Vernon.
And I think a lot of people are forgetting that Kareem Hunt is still on that team. Granted, he is suspended for the first 8 games of the season, but if they can hold it together and get to the playoffs, they're going to have Kareem Hunt and Chubb in that backfield. It's going to be crazy, man.
Well, my thing is, if they can win, in the first 8 games, if they can win, 4 to 6 games, they're golden.
Yeah.
Because after that 8-game mark, you have a fresh Kareem Hunt that's hungry and ready to go. They're going to be so fun to watch next year, and I'm so pumped.
Also,
I do think... Oh, go ahead.
If Odell can stay healthy, he might have, 1,400 yards. Because who are you going to double team on that team? No one.
I think Antonio Callaway is going to benefit the most from this trade.
Probably. I don't know. He's probably going to play on the outside. I guess probably Jarvis Landry might play slot or Odell. But, yeah, he's going to be a crazy fantasy sleeper, I feel like.
I think we're going to hear a lot of Mayfield to Callaway to the end zone kind of plays.
Yeah, definitely.
And, I'm ready for it. And also, people underestimate David Njoku. Their offense is so stacked. They literally have a mini AFC Pro Bowl team. AFC Pro Bowl team.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
David Njoku is a athletic freak, man. People forget he just started playing football 4 years ago.
Yeah, he's a monster.
He's going to be really good, and he's super young. I think he's 23 or 24, but yeah, I feel good about the Browns. I think they're hot take. They're going to win the division. Don't see anybody really competing.
Yeah, I'm jumping on that hot take.
Yeah.
That is a hold the phone unison hot take.
I agree.
Me and Alex are firm believers in the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, jump on the bandwagon now, people.
I've already got my OBJ jersey coming. Just kidding, I don't. So let's skip through that division. Not skip through, but Now let's go to the Baltimore Ravens, who I think have had. Okay. The Mark Ingram and the Earl Thomas signing made their offseason a little bit better for me, but before that, they were having easily the worst offseason ever. They lost like 6 starters. They traded Joe Flacco, which is fine. They cut Alex Collins, which I understand. They cut Eric Weddle. They let Zadarius Smith, C.J. Mosley. Who am I missing? Oh, they cut Crabtree. They let John Brown walk.
Yeah, dude. They gutted the whole roster, basically. And then re-signed Mark Ingram and Earl Thomas. They lost 6 defensive players. I just don't understand. I mean, and a report came out, I think it was yesterday, it might have been today, but I think it was yesterday, that no wide receivers want to sign there because they're worried about how good of a thrower Lamar Jackson is.
If that's the case, then they're going to have to be drafting a lot of these wide receivers in the draft, but it's not a good look in Baltimore right now. I think Mark Ingram I don't think he's washed, but I mean, he's getting towards the end of his prime. Earl Thomas is super injury prone and coming off an injury. And they gave him a pretty big contract, so not a big fan of the Ravens' moves this offseason.
I agree.
So now we can head back up to Pittsburgh. Obviously traded Antonio Brown, let Le'Veon Bell walk, let Jesse James walk as well. Other than those 3, I kind of like what the Steelers are doing, re-signing their players, and I think they got that cornerback from the Chiefs, Nelson.
Yeah.
Spencer Nelson? Is that his name? Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers, they're going to go 8-8, 9-7. Unless Juju has like a crazy season and James Conner has a crazy season, I just don't see it. And I think, honestly, they need to start figuring out who's going to replace Big Ben. I know they just signed him to an extension, but I don't think he has that much longer left in him.
Oh, not a chance. Oh, and they did sign Moncrief. I forgot about that. That's good. I think that's going to be a really good signing.
Oh, yeah, he's a good one.
Juju's going to shift over to that number 1 spot, and I think Moncrief will be a really good addition. He can run a plethora of different types of routes, and I don't know. I think he'll fit in well with that offseason. I feel like he'll do well in an increased role. I feel like he just didn't get enough targets in Jacksonville, which is kind of hard to believe because their wide receiver core was really thin. Either they didn't do it, or either he didn't get enough targets, or he just didn't do anything with them. Jeez, I really can't talk today.
You're good, man. You're good.
All right, last team in the division. Let's go over to the Cincinnati Bengals. Just re-signed Tyler Eifert and C.J. Uzoma. Signed Bobby Hart to a ridiculously big deal for no reason.
Yeah, it's another dumpster fire.
Yep. This one at least is I don't know. Yeah, so far we kind of have a dumpster fire in each division. The Bengals, the AFC North dumpster fire. But, I mean, we knew this rebuild was coming as soon as Marvin Lewis left. The good signing that they did have was re-signing Preston Brown. That was a really good signing. I think he holds down that middle linebacker position really well. And I'm excited to see what they do in the future. And I'm excited to see what they do at quarterback if they kind of draft someone to replace Andy Dalton. I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted someone like Will Grier or maybe even Tyree Jackson later on in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to be their starter? Is it Andy Dalton? I thought they were cutting him.
Well, we don't have any news of that right now, so as of right now, it is Andy Dalton. But, I mean, stuff can change like that, so.
That's true. I don't know. I mean, they did one right thing. They got Marvin Lewis out of there, so that can help.
Yeah,
change
that
the
was
culture.
a big step in the right direction.
Yep. Well, we can jump on to whatever the next division is.
Yeah, let's skip over on to the AFC West. Hot take. in terms of off seasons, the Kansas City Chiefs is my dumpster fire for this offseason. They've had a terrible offseason. Because, okay, so, like, the Patriots got gutted, right? Like, their players just left.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, it's like the Kansas City Chiefs are gutting themselves. They cut Eric Berry. They cut Justin Houston. They trade D Ford for practically nothing. They pretty much gave that guy away for free. They gave him away for a 2020, not 2019, 2020 second-round pick. Like, what? And now Tyreek Hill's facing allegations. Their one good signing was Tyrann Mathieu. But, I mean, like, they already struggled immensely with defense.
I mean, what it feels like is that they're trying to cut cap space so that they can sign Patrick Mahomes to that $200 million deal. Is what it feels like.
Well, I mean, he's still, like 2 or 3 years away from even being able to sign that extension.
Yeah, but don't you remember I think it was right before the AFC Championship game last year, a report came out that they wanted to sign him to that $200 million extension by the end of next season. Like, just void out the rest of his rookie deal and sign him to that huge deal.
See, to me, that's dumb. I mean, like, why do you have this guy on his rookie deal? Build up your defense now. Like, did you not see what the Rams did? You guys were, like, pretty much doing what the Rams were doing, but then you ruined it.
Go try and win a championship.
Exactly. Build up the defense. Like, now is not the time to start tearing down the defense. Like, you need to keep those guys. There was no reason to cut Justin Houston or to trade D Ford or to cut Eric Berry. Honestly, I would have loved to see Eric Berry and Tyrann Mathieu in the same backfield. I know they both play strong safety, but just switch one of them to free safety. I would love to see that. That would have been such a cool secondary room, but it was not to be, I guess. And just, I hate the fact that they cut Eric Berry because he's done so much for that city, and he's become pretty much a Kansas City icon. And they let him go like it was nothing.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where he ends up because he is a free agent. I think he's going to end up signing with somebody. Who knows? It'll probably be the Patriots just to piss me off.
Yeah, that would kind of ruin my life.
Hot take? I think it's going to be the Indianapolis Colts.
That would be a great destination for him. I was thinking, you would like this a lot. I was thinking Carolina.
Please, I would be the happiest person in the world.
Eric Berry and, what's the other guy's name?
Eric Reed.
Eric Reed. Yeah, I was like, is his name Eric too? I couldn't remember. Yeah, Eric Reed.
Yeah,
the safety combo of the two Erics.
Yeah, I'll take the two Erics.
Well, on to the Denver Broncos, who have also kind of not been having the best. They're also in the middle of a rebuild. Just got a new head coach. But I like that they're starting to resign. I'll say this. I really like what they're doing with their secondary.
Yeah.
Bringing in Kareem Jackson. They brought in another cornerback that I can't think of. Bryce Callahan. There we go. The cornerback from the Bears. That's a pretty good signing as well.
Yeah. I think their defense is going to be real good next year. I think their offense is going to be really bad. I mean, Joe Flacco.
Been a story for a while.
Yeah, they traded for Flacco. Makes no sense. And he proved last year that he doesn't like having a rookie quarterback under him, so it's not like they're going to draft. Well, they might, but I don't know why they would draft one. So I don't know. Maybe they're just hoping Flacco can be a stopgap and they can get from Tua or Herbert next year, or maybe wait out for Trevor Lawrence.
I think it would be hilarious for them to draft, like, just for him to go to a different city only for the same stuff to happen to him again.
I mean,
but also, like, he has no offensive line because you guys signed Matt Paradise and also Billy Turner left for Green Bay.
And he's probably the most immobile person in the world. Like, me and you could probably run a 40-yard dash faster than Joe Flacco could.
I got a handful of old quarterbacks I could probably beat in a race, but yeah, Joe Flacco is definitely on that list. I think Big Ben might be too, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think this is also another dumpster fire. Well, at least on the offensive side. On the defensive side, they're doing pretty good. But, I don't know.
I like that, an offensive dumpster fire. I dig it.
Basically.
All right, let's move over to the Oakland Raiders. Oakland for now, that is. They traded for AB. Obviously, we talked about that last week. They also signed Patriots left tackle Trent Brown. They also got LaMarcus Joyner. Sorry, I'm spacing on a lot of people's names today. They got LaMarcus Joyner. They also signed Tyrell Williams, which I think was a great signing to pair up next to AB. Very good wide receiver core. They just cut Jordy Nelson as well, so I like what they're doing. I just think they need to keep continuing. Put the foot on the gas pedal a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make it quick. My only comment is they paid Trent Brown way too much money, but I guess they got to get somebody to block. And I think all the trades and stuff they've made has taken them out of the Kyler Murray sweepstakes. So it looks like Derek Carr's at least their quarterback for the next season.
One thing that I do like, well, I will point out that they definitely need to, whether it's the draft or whether they sign someone, they really need to sign a running back. Right now, their best running back is Dwayne Washington, and that's just not going to cut it. I bet they sign Alex Collins, who just got cut from the Ravens, like we mentioned earlier. I will say that I think their moves that they've made already is enough to put them over the Broncos this year.
Oh, yeah.
I just think I really like what their offense is going to look like. I think this is really a focal point for Derek Carr. If he can't do well this season with these wide receivers, with this improved offensive line, I think he's out of there by the end of next season. But we'll have to see. Only time will tell.
That it will.
All right, last team in the West, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. They've been staying pretty quiet. They signed your boy Tyrod Taylor. I was kind of disappointed that he didn't end up in Carolina, but I still think it's good. I'm still a Tyrod fan. I still root for Tyrod wherever he goes, just because of this great 3 years he gave us in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good guy. But no, the Chargers have kind of kept their nose down. They haven't really made any big splashes. They've done a really good job at adding depth, especially on the defensive side of the ball, signing your boy Thomas Davis.
Yep.
And just making sure their secondary stays whole, re-signing several free agents in their secondary. I like what they're doing, but they're just playing it safe, playing it quiet, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have a big draft, so I like what they're doing.
I agree. Keep it quick. They're doing a good job.
Yeah. All right, over to we got one more AFC division. My bad. Skipping the South. The Colts, another team that have been surprisingly quiet. Only signing thus far that isn't a re-signing is Devin Funchess. They super overpaid him, but that's okay. And they also re-signed their cornerback, Desir. I don't know how you say his last name, but he's really good. He had a really good year last year. And they made sure to lock him up for a few years.
You said they overpaid for Funchess. I don't know if they did. He signed a $13 million one-year contract, but only 8 of it is guaranteed. The rest is incentives. So, I don't see why that signing makes any sense because he's basically another tight end. But if that's what they want to do, plus their GM came out and said, hey, we're going to start spending our money once all this craziness dies down. We're going to find the aftermarket guys. So, I don't know. I think they have a plan. That GM seems like he's doing a great job. I wouldn't sleep on the Colts. I think they're going to do all right.
Oh, for sure. Especially after what he did last year with turning Eric Ebron's career around. I'm not judging him in the slightest, and I think it is kind of smart for them to just sit back after, in this first week and let all the, like you said, craziness die down, and then they jump in week 2.
Yeah.
Heading over to the Tennessee Titans, they've made a few, I don't want to say questionable, but they've made a few moves. Trading for Ryan Tannehill. I think with how injury-prone Marcus Mariota can be, I think having at least a solid improvement from Blaine Gabbert is good. And they didn't give up too much for him, so it's not too big of a trade, but I did like that they traded for Ryan Tannehill. They also got former Dolphins defensive end Cameron Wake, who is super old but still playing like a champ.
He's like 37, it's crazy.
Yeah, almost old enough to be my father. And they also re-signed Kenny Vaccaro. Other than that, they've been pretty quiet, but they've made a few little dicey moves here and there.
Yeah, I think Frank, or whatever their coach's name is, he's doing a good job. But I do think it was smart to bring in Tannehill. I mean, Tannehill is injury-prone also, but they needed a backup because Mariota, it feels like, gets injured at least twice a season.
How funny would it be if both of them got hurt? That'd be really cool. Well, not cool. I apologize for saying that, but how funny would that be?
Well, then in comes Matt Castle to carry that team to victory.
Oh, jeez. Matt Castle's not even there for them anymore, I don't think.
Oh, they'll re-sign him.
Such a classic. Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, my most head-slapping signing of the free agency was Nick Foles, and not because I think it's great if they felt like they needed to move on from Blake Bortles, that's fine, but don't overpay Nick Foles. I promise you that there was not that big of a market for him.
No, dude, I would have taken Daniel Jones or any of the rookie quarterbacks over Nick Foles in that contract.
Well, my thing is, like, the price that he got, it was like the Jaguars, like, participated in this bidding war that only they were in.
Yes,
like, no one else
exactly.
is, like, looking at Nick Foles, but, like, it was like their GM and their head coach was having a bidding war, and one guy's like, I'll take 50, and then the GM's like, I'll take 60. Like, it was dumb. He got super overpaid. Good for him. Hopefully he can leave that team out of mediocrity. But I don't like the signing. Well, okay. I like the signing. I don't like the contract. That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree 100% with that analysis. Makes no sense to pay him that much. But good luck, Jaguars. I hope you're good.
Yeah, they'll need it. All the hopes and prayers. Moving on to the last team in the AFC that we've talked about is the Houston Texans. They lost a few big pieces to their secondary with Tyrann Mathieu and Kareem Jackson, but I like that they brought in Tayshaun Gibson and Bradley Roby. They found pretty good replacements for those guys, so I'm pretty happy with it. I can't complain. But other than that, they've kind of kept it quiet.
Yeah, they didn't really spend a whole lot of money. The only thing I would have rather or liked to see them sign is another running back, maybe like Tevin Coleman, but they decided not to, so can't really fault them for that. And good luck, Deshaun Watson, behind that terrible offensive line next year.
Yeah, they'll definitely have to improve that in the draft, but they didn't really go after any big offensive linemen, so I think they're going to face a lot of the same struggles. It's going to be a lot of the same stuff from 2018.
Yep.
So moving on to the NFC, I'll start in your division. I'll let you just go ahead on the Carolina Panthers offseason.
I mean, signing a center, it's crazy important. We needed it desperately. Protect Cam Newton, who has had injured shoulders for the last 2 seasons. Other than that, we really didn't do a whole lot. I think we re-signed Torrey Smith. That's about it. Oh, and Darrell Williams, re-signed him to a 1-year contract. So we solidified the offensive line a little bit. I know earlier today they were talking to some other offensive lineman. I can't remember his name, but he used to play for the Saints. But I don't think they got a contract done. Yeah, I just want to see what they do. Like you said, Eric Berry would be crazy. I would love for that to happen in the aftermarket. Don't know if it will. But yeah, I'm just excited to see what they do in the draft at this point. We don't really have a ton of cap room, so it's not like we could spend crazy money or anything. Would have liked to see them go after a pass rusher, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing that you talked about last week that the Panthers actually did do was get rid of left tackle Ryan Khalil in his huge contract.
Yes, they cut him, which makes me very happy.
Honestly, your entire division has been kind of quiet.
Yeah.
Which is like super opposite of mine. Mine has been freaking crazy, but yours has been. I mean, the Falcons have kept their nose down. I honestly don't even think it's worth talking about the Falcons. That's how little moves they've made. Like, they've done nothing.
Yeah, I think other than the Panthers, what I just said, this division's pretty easy to go through very quickly. Like the Saints, they brought back Teddy Bridgewater, even though Miami offered him more money. He was like, "No, I'm going to stay with this team," hoping, I'm guessing, that Drew Brees is going to retire and he can get a long-term contract with them. And I mean, the Bucks, they didn't really do a whole lot. They lost some linebackers in Kawan Alexander, and they lost another guy, and I can't remember his name. But yeah, they lost some people. They didn't really bring in any huge names that I can think of. What about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I really like the Deion Buchanan signing to replace Quan Alexander, but I mean, yeah, other than that, like, they've been super cool. They've done like a very quiet little rebuilding period they're going through right now. But I did really like the Saints bringing back Teddy Bridgewater. I think Bridgewater made the right decision because, like we've been saying this entire episode, Miami is currently a dumpster fire, and good for him for not jumping in the dumpster fire for money. Stay with the Saints. They're in much better position to keep winning.
Well, they lost Mark Ingram. That's probably the biggest thing.
I mean, they could draft another running back.
Yeah, I
honestly,
see them doing that. So
they've still got Kamara, who's a super stud. But yeah, all right. I mean, I'm ready to move on. If you're ready to hang it up on the NFC South,
that's about all we had. So
all right. Let's go over to the NFC West, mainly because I want to talk about the Cardinals. I am not a Cliff Kingsbury guy, but I do really like the stuff he's doing. Bringing in Jordan Hicks from the Eagles, Terrell Suggs from the Ravens. He signed Charles Clay a while ago. What else is he doing? Who else did they sign? They signed a few other people.
Yeah, the main things that they need is offensive line help, and I think it just becomes more and more clear that they're going to trade Rosen and draft Murray. So that's about all I have for them. I feel like very strongly that they're going to draft Kyler Murray at this point.
Well, now that raises a lot of questions for me, because if they draft Murray at 1, does that mean that the San Francisco 49ers trade back from 2? Or do you think they still take Bosa? Because, I mean, because the 49ers got D Ford, now the defensive line is pretty stacked. Do you think they still add on Bosa, or do you think they trade back?
I could see them taking someone other than... Actually, no. The only team that I think might move up would be the Oakland Raiders to try and get a pass rusher. But, no, I think they'd take Bosa and try and pair him up with D Ford on that cheap rookie contract.
Very true. Well, I mean, we just kind of skipped over to the 49ers inadvertently, so let's just keep talking about them. They signed Tevin Coleman, a match made in heaven, as he's reunited with his old offensive coordinator, Kyle Shanahan. I love the move, but also, like, they're kind of stockpiling running backs at this point.
Well, I think
right now they have Raheem. I was going to say they have Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, and Jerick McKinnon.
I think they're going to end up cutting either Breida or Jerick McKinnon. Probably McKinnon because he got injured. So that could be one of those guys could end up in Oakland, I think. You were saying they need a running back?
That would be a great signing for Oakland.
Maybe.
Yeah. McKinnon would be a great addition. I'd love to see him in the Oak Show.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Is what I'm starting to call Oakland.
I think probably the biggest signing for the 49ers is Jason Verrett for a 1-year deal for $3 million. Like, he's a stud. I know he was injured last year, but for $3 million, that's a prove-it deal if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that was a really good move. Very cost-effective for a really good player. Their secondary is starting to look pretty solid. I mean, just their cornerback room is Richard Sherman, Jason Verrett, and Jimmy Ward, which are 2-3 really good cornerbacks. So I like the move. I like what they're doing. Good on Kyle Shanahan.
If they do trade back, I would look for them to take a wide receiver because they desperately need somebody other than Marquise Goodwin and Chris. What is that other guy's name?
Well, they just signed Jordan Matthews.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, not that that's a huge improvement, but they did add depth there. They also signed, we mentioned earlier, they did sign Quan Alexander, adding to their defense, because I feel like their defense was the big problem there. They definitely improved a lot, and with Jimmy G healthy in 2019, I think the 49ers are wild card contenders. I'd like to see them make a playoff run.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate to see it. I think they could definitely do it, for sure.
All right, now let's move on to the Rams, who have done almost little to nothing. They signed Eric Weddle last week. That's pretty much it. And Ndamukong Suh is pretty much sitting on his hands. I would really like to see them bring Suh back. I don't know if they have the cap for that, but I would really enjoy seeing Suh back in a Rams uniform next to Aaron Donald. What about you?
Yeah, I think they're going to end up signing him. I think he'll sign for lesser because there's just not a market out there for him, I don't think. And one thing that is baffling to me is a report came out, I think it was today, that they are considering signing Blake Bortles to be their backup quarterback.
I like it because, I mean, Blake Bortles, okay, say what you want about Bortles, but he would be a high-end backup quarterback because, if you start in the league ever, like you're already a high-end backup quarterback. And, I mean, that would already be an improvement from Sean Mannion, who was their backup quarterback. I don't even really know who that is. So, I mean, Blake Bortles would definitely be a step up.
He's like 45. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. But I don't know. I just don't like Blake Bortles.
Well, neither does Jacksonville, so.
Very true.
Lots of similarities there. I mean, I don't have a problem with him. He's just not good. So moving on to the last team in the West, the Seattle Seahawks. Speaking of which, like this half of the division is like being super quiet, and then the Cardinals and the 49ers are being really kind of loud. Seahawks haven't really done much either. They re-signed KJ Wright. They signed kicker Jason Myers, who went to the Pro Bowl. I like that signing a lot because Janikowski just kind of stunk for them last year. And I mean, he has every right to. He's super old. I think he should just retire, but
yeah.
And I think he might. But I like the signing. I like the Jason Myers signing.
Yeah.
Nothing else to really write home about.
Yeah, that's about it. That's what they did. Not a whole lot. Again, they need offensive line help too, so I'd look for that in the draft. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about them.
All right, moving on. Let's go to the NFC East. Cowboys have done virtually nothing except bringing back Tavon Austin and setting a record for how many defensive starters they can have suspended before week 1.
Yeah, I mean, not much to talk about when it comes to the Cowboys.
Yeah. Redskins. The trade for Case Keenum has officially been official. They gave Landon Collins a super big contract, and they cut Zach Brown. Those are their biggest moves, in my opinion. Oh, and they also re-signed Adrian Peterson. I like the move. I like what AP could do with Geis. I'm excited to see how that works. But yeah, what do you think about the Redskins?
Here comes 6-10. I don't know. I just don't think Case Keenum is very good, and they overpaid a lot for Landon Collins.
I was not ready for you to say that. But it was so funny because it was so, like, out of the blue, but it's also so accurate. Like, I don't think the Redskins are going to be that good this year.
No, I just see this being the Cowboys or Eagles division for, like, the next 3 years, basically.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, and we already talked about the dumpster fire that is the New York Giants.
And the Eagles,
I like that they traded for Zietler, but that's about it.
Yeah, they didn't really do a whole lot. The Eagles, did they do anything that I could?
No, they've kind of just been sitting on their hands. They let Jordan Hicks walk, so now they have a huge hole in their middle linebacker position.
Yeah, I would look for like Devin Bush or somebody like that. Jackson. Oh yeah, Malik. I said I would look for them to draft somebody like Devin Bush or one of those guys. But yeah, Malik Jackson, that's a big pickup, a little bit.
another. I mean, they clearly have the best defensive line in probably all of football. So right up there with the Rams. Yeah, but other than that, they didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Fletcher Cox play with Malik Jackson. I think that'll be really good pairing together. But yeah, like we've been saying, they haven't really done much. And now we can go on to the last NFC division, which is the NFC North, which has kind of been, I'd say, the most busy in the NFC.
Yeah.
The Packers made like a huge amount of signings, and so did the Lions. Let's start with the Packers, though. They got Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, as well as Adrian Amos from the Bears, and crap, who am I missing? There's one other person. I was just thinking of him.
I don't know, but why you think that? They just signed or re-signed Geronimo Allison to a 1-year contract.
Oh, good for them. They needed that, actually.
Yeah. I don't know who you were trying to think of.
It was defensive. It's bugging me. Was it a corner? I don't know. We'll think of it. But yeah, Packers made a lot of moves. I like the moves. Now they just got to get rid of Jimmy Graham and.
Yeah. They made themselves a contender again, especially if Aaron Rodgers is healthy. So I like them. They definitely bolstered that defense for him.
How do you feel about the Detroit Lions signing Trey Flowers, Jesse James? Who else did they sign?
Another defensive player that I cannot think of the name of right now, but I mean, I think they're the Lions. They don't have a running back that is. I mean, they have Kerryon Johnson, but he's injured, so who knows how long until he's back. It just seems like they're trying to be the Patriots, and they're not going to be the Patriots. So I don't know. I still don't have a whole lot of faith in Matt Patricia.
Oh, it was Amendola and Justin Coleman. They made Justin Coleman the highest paid slot receiver.
Yeah, again, I don't understand.
It's not slot receiver, slot corner. My bad. Excuse me.
You're good.
But I agree. I don't think this is enough to put them over the top, but I think that division is going to be a lot more competitive that I would love to see. Because honestly, I think that might be the best division in my opinion.
Yeah, I hope so.
I really like what they're doing to offer more weapons and also trying to build on their defense. Hopefully Trey Flowers doesn't flop. I don't think it will be a flop because it's not like he's switching schemes too much because, I mean, he's defensive coordinator for a few years in New England, so I like the signing. I don't, like you said also, I don't think that this can be enough to put them over the top. But
no.
They'll definitely be more competitive.
Yeah, they'll win some games. 8-8, 9-7, somewhere in there, probably.
Which would be a huge improvement from what they were last year.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Bears. Bears haven't done a whole lot either. Bears actually lost a few key pieces of their secondary, like we mentioned, losing Adrian Amos and Bryce Callahan. They did sign former Seattle Seahawks running back Mike Davis, but other than that,
yeah,
hasn't been a whole lot to talk about.
They just kind of got most of their stuff taken. They didn't really do a whole lot of buying. They were more of just not re-signing people.
Yeah, they did sign HaHa Clinton-Dix to a 1-year deal, so they did kind of replace Adrian Amos, but I think the Bears are going to be the Bears. They're going to be good again this year. I think their main moves are going to be in the draft or in the second wave of free agency. And I'm actually really looking forward to what Matt Nagy does because he earned a lot of respect from me after his first year. I'm excited to see how they build upon it.
Me too.
All right. And let's wrap this up by talking about the Minnesota Vikings, who this was not a very good person to end on because they haven't done much either.
I mean, they re-signed Anthony Barr. That's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. They lost Latavius Murray.
Who did he go to?
To the Saints.
To the Saints. Yeah.
But yeah, Vikings haven't done much either. So
yeah.
cool. That was a lot. That was a big rundown.
Yeah, man, our longest episode ever. It's gonna be it'll be in like 51 minutes. But
Hey, man, we appreciate y'all sticking with us, grinding out with us. And you got anything else, Ryan?
Nah, and I would also like to ask for forgiveness for forgetting literally like half the free agents' names. That was kind of
No, man.
on us today.
you
We had a
did
bad
great.
day. We're not usually this bad. But yeah, for everyone that's downloading our roster on Madden, thank you. And for all of our regular listeners, thank you as well. Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram and subscribe on YouTube and SoundCloud.
Yeah, shout out to
Thank you,
Ryan
guys.
for that PS4 roster, man. All right, y'all. We'll see you next week.